Doa.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Allah, sesungguhnya Engkaulah Tuhan yang mempunyai kebesaran dan keagungan, yang memerintah dan mentadbir alam sekalian. Tiada berlaku sesuatu melainkan dengan kehendak dan kekuasaan daripadamu jua. Kepada Engkaulah sebenar-benarnya tempat kami meletakkan harapan dan memohon pertolongan. Ya Allah, apalah kiranya dengan kemurahan-Mu Engkau anugerahkan kepada kami sebaik-baik ilham dan fikiran, dan berikanlah kami sebaik-baik pimpinan untuk menjalankan tugas dan kewajipan kami. Mudahkan kepada kami segala kerumitan dalam menyelesaikan persoalan-persoalan yang diperbahaskan di dalam sidangan kami ini, dan sampaikanlah kami kepada kata sepakat dan tujuan-tujuan yang muktamad demi untuk kepentingan dan kebaikan negara. Seterusnya, kepada Engkaulah juga kami harapkan agar segala usaha dan cita-cita kerajaan dalam rancangan-rancangan pembangunannya akan berhasil dan berjaya untuk membawa kemakmuran, keadilan dan kebahagiaan kepada rakyat seluruhnya. Amin.
Boleh. Pemasyuran daripada Tuan Speaker.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera. Ahli-ahli yang berhormat, I wish to notify all the honorable members who are also members of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA, that there will be an annual general meeting, AGM, immediately after this Dewan is adjourned sine die this afternoon, as stated in a notice of AGM, as the notice of the AGM has been circulated. Thank you.
Sambungan perbahasan atas bacaan kali yang kedua Rang Undang-Undang Pembekalan 2021-2020 dan usul untuk merujuk resolusi anggaran perbelanjaan pembangunan bagi tahun 2021. Penggulungan oleh para menteri.
Dengan segala hormatnya saya menjemput Yang Berhormat Datuk Amar Haji Agung Tengah bin Ali Hassan, Timbalan Ketua Menteri, Menteri Pembangunan Bandar dan Sumber Asli kedua, Menteri Perdagangan Antarabangsa dan Industri, Terminal Perindustrian dan Pembangunan Usahawan, dan Ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri Bukit Sari untuk menyampaikan ucapan penggulungan.
Terima kasih Datuk Amar Speaker. Saya cuba akan membuat penggulungan ini dalam tempoh masa yang diberikan, iaitu 45 minit. Terlebih dahulu saya mengucapkan setinggi-tinggi tahniah kepada Yang Amat Berhormat Ketua Menteri selaku Menteri Kewangan dan Perancangan Ekonomi kerana telah membentangkan bajet 2021 yang berpaksikan rakyat, Development and Rural Bias Budget. Bajet tersebut sudah pasti akan dapat memacu pembangunan negeri dan meningkatkan kemakmuran serta kesejahteraan rakyat Sarawak dengan mengambil kira kesan daripada pandemik COVID-19. Ianya juga sekaligus akan dapat merapatkan jurang pembangunan di antara kawasan bandar dan luar bandar. Saya juga ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada ahli-ahli yang berhormat yang turut serta dalam perbahasan dan memberi pandangan yang bernas berhubung dengan perkara-perkara di bawah bidang kuasa Kementerian Pembangunan Bandar dan Sumber Asli. Datuk Amar Speaker, program pengukuran tanah NCR inisiatif baru. Untuk makluman Dewan Yang Mulia ini, kerajaan sentiasa mengiktiraf dan mempertahankan hak rakyat ke atas tanah mereka. Pengukuran dan pengeluaran surat hak milik tanah NCR telah dilaksanakan sejak tahun 1960-an lagi, khususnya melalui operasi penyelesaian selaras dengan peruntukan dalam Kanun Tanah Negeri Bab 81. Bagi memastikan pengukuran tanah NCR dilaksanakan secara lebih efisien dan efektif, program pengukuran tanah NCR inisiatif baru telah dilaksanakan bermula pada tahun 2010. Sehingga 31 Oktober 2020, seluas lebih kurang 953,000 hektar atau bersamaan 2.35 juta ekar telah berjaya diukur secara perimeter. Dan seluas lebih kurang 753,000 hektar atau 1.86 juta ekar daripadanya telah pun diwartakan di bawah Seksyen 6 Kanun Tanah Negeri. Pada tahun ini, fokus pengukuran juga ditumpukan kepada pengukuran lot-lot individu bagi kawasan-kawasan yang telah diwartakan di bawah Seksyen 6 Kanun Tanah Negeri berdasarkan permohonan dan kesediaan penuntut tanah tersebut. Sehingga 31 Oktober 2020, sebanyak 37,039 lot individu telah berjaya diukur dan melibatkan kawasan seluas 46,113 hektar atau bersamaan 113,945 ekar yang telah dan akan dikeluarkan surat hak milik tanah di bawah Seksyen 18 Kanun Tanah Negeri. Bagi mempercepatkan pengukuran tanah NCR ini, Kerajaan Negeri telah meluluskan pengambilan seramai 467 orang pegawai pelbagai kategori bagi menambah kapasiti sedia ada di Jabatan Tanah dan Survey yang melibatkan tambahan perbelanjaan sebanyak RM30 juta setahun. Penuntut tanah juga hendaklah hadir semasa pengukuran di lapangan, menandakan sempadan tanah mereka dengan jelas dan mengelak pertikaian dalam membuat tuntutan agar pengukuran berjalan dengan lebih lancar. Kerajaan Negeri komited dalam memastikan kelangsungan program ini dan akan terus menyediakan peruntukan yang diperlukan di samping peruntukan yang diterima daripada Kerajaan Persekutuan. Datuk Amar Speaker, skim penempatan semula SPS dan skim pembesaran kampung SPK. Untuk makluman Dewan Yang Mulia ini, pelaksanaan program skim penempatan semula SPS dan skim pembesaran kampung SPK sejak rancangan Malaysia keempat merupakan komitmen dan keprihatinan kerajaan negeri terhadap rakyat berpendapatan rendah yang memerlukan tanah untuk mendirikan rumah. Di bawah peruntukan rancangan Malaysia ke-11 dan peruntukan projek rakyat sebanyak 54 projek SPS dan SPK telah diluluskan yang menyediakan sebanyak 645 lot kediaman. Daripada 54 projek tersebut, 34 projek telah pun siap sepenuhnya dan baki 20 projek akan diteruskan pelaksanaannya dalam rancangan Malaysia ke-12. Projek-projek SPS dan SPK yang baharu akan dilaksanakan dengan menggunakan spesifikasi yang telah ditambah baik seperti jalan raya yang berturap, parit konkrit dan lot-lot yang ditimbus atau ditembok. Kerajaan juga telah menetapkan bayaran premium tidak melebihi RM2,500 selot. Dato' Amar Speaker, bermula pada 2 Januari 2020, Jabatan Hutan Sarawak dan Sarawak Forestry Corporation telah pun distruktur semula agar pentadbiran pengurusan hutan dan hidupan liar dapat diurus dengan lebih fokus dan efektif. Jabatan Hutan Sarawak telah melaksanakan semua fungsi pengurusan dan pentadbiran hutan, manakala SFC melaksanakan semua fungsi pengurusan kawasan terlindung sepenuhnya dan hidupan liar. Kerajaan negeri memberi komitmen yang tinggi untuk membangunkan negeri ini di samping mengekalkan kelestarian alam sekitar, di mana dasar guna tanah negeri telah menetapkan 7 juta hektar untuk sektor perhutanan yang merangkumi 1 juta hektar kawasan terlindung sepenuhnya dan 6 juta hektar kawasan hutan kekal. Pada masa kini, liputan hutan di Sarawak adalah 63%. Yang merupakan tertinggi di Malaysia. Di samping itu, Sarawak telah mewartakan 46 taman negara, 15 reserve semula jadi dan 5 sanctuary hidupan liar dengan keluasan 2.1 juta hektar yang merangkumi kawasan tanah dan air. Untuk memastikan hutan diurus secara mampan dan memenuhi piawaian antarabangsa agar produk kayu dapat dipasarkan secara kompetitif, kerajaan negeri telah menetapkan kesemua lesen pembelakan jangka panjang mendapat pensijilan pengurusan hutan menjelang tahun 2022 dan pelesen ladang hutan pula menjelang tahun 2025. Sehingga Oktober 2020, sebanyak 14 Forest Management Unit seluas 1.32 juta hektar dan 6 Forest Plantation Management Unit seluas 90,434 hektar telah dipersijilkan. Seiring dengan komitmen kita di peringkat antarabangsa dalam melestarikan alam sekitar, kerajaan negeri telah memperluaskan kawasan Heart of Borneo daripada 2.1 juta hektar kepada 2.7 juta hektar. Kawasan HOB ini yang mengunjur dari Lawas hingga ke Tanjung Jatu Kuching merupakan jenama yang boleh dimanfaatkan dalam melaksanakan aktiviti ekopelancongan, penyelidikan dan pembangunan serta projek sosioekonomi komuniti. Bermula 2019, kerajaan negeri telah menjadikan program restorasi landscape hutan sebagai agenda utama untuk menghijaukan negeri Sarawak, di mana melalui program ini seluas 30,026 hektar telah ditanam dengan pelbagai spesies pokok. Di samping itu, melalui lesen ladang hutan seluas 458,144 hektar turut ditanam dengan pelbagai fast-growing species. Kerajaan negeri komited membenteras pembalakan haram, di mana pelbagai usaha telah dilaksanakan termasuk meningkatkan keupayaan dalam penggunaan teknologi terkini. Pada 4 November 2020, kita telah melancarkan Sarawak Aerial Detection Unit SADU di bawah Jabatan Hutan Sarawak yang menjadi pelopor dalam penggunaan teknologi hyperspectral di Malaysia bagi memantau kawasan hutan di samping mengesan kegiatan pembalakan haram di seluruh negeri Sarawak. Pada tahun ini, sehingga 15 Oktober 2020, sebanyak 64 kertas siasatan telah dibuka di mana 2 kes telah dikompaun, 1 kes ditutup, 1 kes masih dalam proses perbicaraan dan selebihnya masih dalam proses penilaian di pelbagai peringkat. Sebanyak 15,893 meter padu kayu balak telah dirampas dengan nilai royalti lebih kurang RM1.03 juta. Turut dirampas adalah 50 jentera dan mesin seperti lori, jangkaut dan jantolak. Dalam tahun ini juga, sebanyak 8 kes terdahulu turut dibicarakan dengan 2 kes daripadanya telah disabit kesalahan dan dikenakan penalti, manakala 6 lagi kes masih dalam proses perbicaraan. Dato' Amat Speaker, sebagai usaha untuk menjana sumber pendapatan baharu negeri, kerajaan negeri telah menandatangani perjanjian dengan Shell Malaysia Limited untuk menerokai potensi perdagangan carbon trading pada 15 Jun 2019. Melalui kerjasama ini, seluas 0.56 juta hektar kawasan hutan telah dikenal pasti sebagai tapak perintis, iaitu di Merudi, Baram, Bakun, Baleh dan Sabal. Dianggalkan sejumlah 3.93 juta tan karbon boleh disimpan di kawasan ini yang bernilai di antara RM47.2 juta hingga RM157.3 juta setahun. Dato' Amat Speaker, the National Park, Nature Reserves and Wild Centres aim to give the best experience for visitors. Semenggong Wildlife Centre has recently won the Best Sustainable Tourism Program of the World Excellent Tourism Award 2020, ITB Berlin, Germany. To further enhance visitors' experience, among development projects currently undertaken include the upgrading of facilities in Fairy Cave and Wind Cave Nature Reserve, the bridge and elevated BAGI trail at Niah National Park, and the Semenggong Rainforest Discovery Centre. The Sarawak Red Bull Project is an initiative of the Sarawak government, among others, to protect and conserve marine ecosystem, enhance marine resources and create new ecotourism sites. The state government allocated a total of RM70 million for placements of 16,800 units of reef walls along approximately 1,000 kilometers of Sarawak coastal waters, stretching from Tanjung Datu to Lawas. This project is expected to be completed by middle of next year and will create a world record of the longest stretch of reef wall in the world. Dato' Amat Speaker, pendapatan daripada ekspor produk perkayuan Sarawak pada Januari hingga September tahun 2020 telah terjejas disebabkan oleh pandemik COVID-19. Permintaan pasaran utama Sarawak seperti Jepun, India, negara Timur Tengah, Korea dan lain-lain telah mencatat penurunan. Jumlah nilai ekspor produk perkayuan Sarawak telah menyusut sebanyak 20% kepada RM2.8 bilion bagi tempoh Januari hingga September 2020, berbanding RM3.5 bilion pada tempoh yang sama dalam tahun 2019. Bagi tempoh yang sama, nilai ekspor produk perkayuan utama iaitu papan lapis telah menurun sebanyak 17% kepada RM1.5 bilion berbanding RM1.8 bilion dalam tahun 2019. Manakala nilai ekspor produk perkayuan ke pasaran terbesar iaitu Jepun juga telah menyusut sebanyak 17% kepada RM1.4 bilion berbanding RM1.7 bilion dalam tahun 2019. Bagi membantu industri perkayuan mengharungi pandemik COVID-19, kerajaan telah membenarkan industri perkayuan utama untuk beroperasi semasa Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan dilaksanakan. Ini adalah untuk memastikan pihak industri dapat memenuhi tempahan yang sedia ada di samping meneruskan aktiviti ekonomi yang sangat diperlukan dalam tempoh tersebut. Dalam usaha memperkasakan industri perkayuan dan hasil sumber perhutanan Sarawak, Kerajaan Negeri memberi tumpuan kepada pembangunan industri produk nilai tambah, terutamanya perabot dan engineered wood product. Strategi pembangunan ini bertujuan untuk menggalakkan dan mengoptimalkan penggunaan bahan mentah daripada ladang hutan. Dalam masa yang sama, Kerajaan Negeri turut mempergiatkan promosi penanaman buluh untuk membangun industri berasaskan buluh. Datuk Ahmad Speaker, untuk makluman ahli yang berhormat bagi Kota Sentosa, pada tahun 2017, Kerajaan Negeri melalui Jabatan Tanah dan Survey telah mengarahkan pihak pemegang lesen untuk menjalankan kajian hazard mapping and slope stability assessment. Hasil kajian oleh perunding bertauliah iaitu Juruta ADDA Sdn Bhd telah merumuskan bahawa keseluruhan dinding kuari adalah kukuh, kerja-kerja pengkuarian termasuk pelatupan yang dilakukan juga memenuhi standard operating procedure yang ditetapkan oleh pihak Jabatan Mineral dan Geoscience Sarawak. Walaupun Kerajaan Negeri telah memutuskan untuk tidak memperbaharui lesen tersebut selepas tamat tempoh lesen iaitu pada 29 November tahun ini. Untuk makluman ahli yang berhormat bagi layar, Engkelili, Seribas dan Meradung, cadangan pelaksanaan skim pembesaran kampung Melayu, Betong, SPK Skrang, SPK Debak Baru, SPK Tui, skim penempatan semula Sungai Meradung Fasa 2, SPS Sungai Meradung Fasa 3, SPS Sungai Meradung Extension and Industrial Area Fasa 2 telah dikemukakan di dalam rancangan Malaysia ke-12 untuk pertimbangan. Untuk makluman ahli yang berhormat bagi Krian, Minerals Ordinance 2004 yang berkuat kuasa pada Julai 2010 dan Mineral Regulation 2012 adalah komprehensif dalam mengawal selia aktiviti perlumbungan di Sarawak termasuk non-radioactive rare earth elements NREE. Memandangkan sektor perlumbungan merupakan salah satu sektor penting dalam menjana ekonomi Sarawak, Kerajaan Negeri melalui Sarawak Economic Action Council sedang memperincikan dasar dan rangka kerja yang komprehensif agar sektor ini termasuk NREE dapat memberi impak yang maksimum kepada ekonomi negeri di samping memastikan kelestarian alam sekitar terpelihara. Untuk makluman ahli yang berhormat bagi Bukit Asik, garis panduan dalam menentukan status Native of Sarawak bagi pendaftaran pindah milik yang melibatkan tanah dalam klasifikasi Native Area Land adalah selaras dengan Seksyen 3 Interpretation Ordinance 2005 Chapter 61 yang mendefinisikan native sebagai a citizen of Malaysia which is now considered to be indigenous to Sarawak as set out in the schedule. Jadual tersebut menyenaraikan sebanyak 20 kaum dan mana-mana pencempuran antara kaum tersebut sebagai native of Sarawak. Oleh itu, seseorang diiktiraf sebagai native of Sarawak apabila kedua-dua ibu bapanya adalah kaum yang tersenarai di dalam jadual tersebut. Proses dan garis panduan yang digunapakai oleh semua pendaftar di Jabatan Tanah dan Survey adalah seragam. Untuk makluman ahli yang berhormat, bagi Bukit Asit juga,
Thank you, Tuan Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister. The question here is, it is a policy of this birth and death, registry of birth and death, that when you want to register the birth of a child, I know that it is a policy that the registry will ask whether the child will follow the race of the father or the mother in a mixed marriage. Now, if they are given to choose and the birth certificate actually says that the child is a native, I don't think it is right that the Land and Survey should go behind the birth certificate to actually go and classify again whether this person is a native or not. If that is the case, right, what is the point of giving the policy to the birth and registry of birth and death to choose the race of the child? Now, and also that our society actually is a paternal society. In other words, a lot of our parents' land from the father will be given to the son. Now, if the father is already a native and the birth certificate is also stated as a native for the child, then why do you have to go behind the birth certificate to ascertain again whether the child is a native or not? Honourable Deputy Chief Minister, I'm sure there are lots of mixed marriages here as well.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat, for Bukit
You get my
Asit.
point.
We will take note of your concern.
All right, thank you.
Untuk makluman ahli yang berhormat, bagi Bukit Asit juga, Kerajaan Negeri melalui LCDA mempunyai perancangan untuk melaksanakan pembangunan semula Bukit Asit di bawah program pembangunan bandar, Urban Renewal. Setakat ini, beberapa siri libat urus engagement session dan Bukit Asit Redevelopment Lab telah diadakan bersama agensi-agensi teknikal dan pihak yang berkepentingan. Sebelum pelan pembangunan semula ini dimuktamarkan, sesi focus group discussion bersama pihak yang berkepentingan juga akan diadakan agar pelan pembangunan semula Bukit Asit yang dihasilkan nanti adalah komprehensif, praktikal dan memenuhi keperluan penduduk setempat. Bagi isu-isu yang ditimbulkan oleh beberapa ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri dalam perbahasan bajet yang tidak sempat dijawab, kementerian kita akan mengkaji dan mengambil tindakan yang sewajarnya. Demikianlah sahaja ucapan pengurusan saya bagi Kementerian Pembangunan Bandar dan Sumber Asli. Datuk Amar Speaker, seterusnya, saya ingin menyampaikan ucapan penggulungan bagi Kementerian Pelancongan, Kesenian dan Kebudayaan Sarawak serta Kementerian Belia dan Sukan Sarawak. Datuk Amar Speaker, tourism is among the worst hit economic sectors impacted by the global COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in unprecedented downturn in the tourism sector. Unlike other economic sectors, tourism sector needs a much longer period to recover due to closure of borders and travel restriction. From January to October this year, visitors' arrival to Sarawak has dropped 68.8% to 1.17 million as compared to the corresponding period in 2019, 3.76 million. The tourism receipt has declined 69.8% to RM 2.82 billion as compared to the same corresponding period in 2019, RM 9.34 billion. By the end of the year 2020, Sarawak project an estimated visitors arrival of 1.2 million, which is a decline of 76% from the initial target of 5 million before COVID-19. Sarawak is expected to slowly recover in 2021, anticipating a total visitor arrival of 1.4 million only, with an estimated tourism receipt of RM 3.5 billion ringgit. MTech has taken various measures to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 pandemic and to help the tourism industry to recover. MTech has responded to the current situation by a quick review of our marketing strategies to turn our promotional and marketing initiative towards domestic tourism. Sarawak Tourism Board initiated an intra-state travel campaign named Siaran Sarawak. It features 30 tourism packages from Kuching, Sibu, Muka, Bintulu, Miri, and Mulu at affordable prices by giving 50% discount for all packages to encourage Sarawakian to travel within their own home state. The booking period is from July 15 to December 31st, 2020, and the traveling period starts on August 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021. The campaign is also part of Sarawak tourism stimulus measure to give a boost to the local tourism industry and a good way of sustaining and maintaining the tourism ecosystem for the industry players such as tourists and park guide, drivers, operators, retail, handicraft, and restaurant during this challenging period. Visitor Incentive Package, BIP, is another incentive measure to support the revival of tourism in Sarawak. It is an incentive created for interstate travel to provide Sarawak travel agencies or tour operators with support for bringing in domestic and international visitors to Sarawak. The incentive ranges from RM20 to RM50 per visitor, depending on the length of the tour packages. MTech, through Sarawak Convention Bureau, is offering support packages for the business event industry during this pandemic. The support covers a wider range of claimable items, delegate wellness pack, sponsored half-day city tours to aid delegate boosting, cost of virtual platform for hybrid event, greater flexibility with achievement target. Support is also given to encourage the growth of home-ground event. Dato' Amar Speaker, during this slow session of visitors' arrival, MTech has continued to invest timely on the upskilling and continuous capacity building of the tourism industry, which include regional specific tourist guide courses, e-pelancongan courses, online ecosystem PAN, and Tribe Digital Campus, a virtual space for capacity building and business lead generation for our business event planners and partners. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, MTech continues to support domestic events with watchful eyes on the necessary SOPs. This helps the local industry to sustain through this difficult time. Among the significant events are the Sarawak Adventure Challenge in Gua Silabor, the Kenyalang Tourism Booster at Lundu, Anugerah Seniman Music Sarawak, and many others. Digital promotion will become the priority marketing strategy for Sarawak tourism, especially when our borders are closed and physical travel is restricted. The Sarawak Travel app and web portal was launched to give first-hand information to the visitors, while the virtual reality and augmented reality features will enhance their virtual experience of Sarawak. MTech is working closely with the Sarawak Multimedia Authority to enhance Sarawak Travel app by integrating e-commerce platform in order to support and revive the economic growth and income of industry players through digital applications and online services. The way forward, MTech, together with Economic Planning Unit, EPU Sarawak, has embarked on the third Sarawak Tourism Master Plan study to chart the way forward for Sarawak tourism industry to recover from the impact of COVID-19. The master plan will explore new business model and strategies for both the demand and supply side of tourism industry. It will also identify and develop strategic directions and action plan for the tourism sector to spur both immediate recovery and long-term growth. Tourism sector is also one of the key economic sectors under Sarawak Economic Action Council. MTech is planning to focus on several areas with potential for high-impact projects to be implemented under the Malaysia Plan. Among them are to develop tourism facilities and infrastructures for Sarawak needs ecotourism products such as national park, beaches, and waterfall. To preserve, conserve, and promote Sarawak's unique history, culture, and heritage through museum, port, heritage building, and archaeological site. Sarawak's own Center for Performing Arts will also be established to be the main hub to develop local talent in performing arts industry, and the development of local craft industry by establishing Sarawak Handicraft Center as a showcase of our unique crafts and souvenir center for visitors. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, Ministry of Youth and Sport, Sarawak.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for giving clarification. My question is, looking at the answers given by the Honourable Deputy Chief Minister about the long-term planning on tourism, that is good. But the whole thing is that at the moment, the tourism industries and all other industries have is suffering a lot, and that as what the great economist has said, in the long run, we are all dead. So if they can't tide over this period of time, there's no point in talking about long run. So may I know what is the government stand on my question, my request, or my request the other day on the 1 billion fund for to 1 billion fund to be channeled as wage subsidies for SMEs in Sarawak and grants to SMEs so that they can tide over the immediate predicament that they are in, the immediate dilemma that they are in now, like including the tourism industry. What is the position of the state government?
There are so many of non-financial and financial assistance to all these industrial players, including the SMEs, including those who are involved in this tourism sector. And what is important is for them to chart the way forward and how to assist the industry players in this tourism industry. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, Ministry of Youth and Sport. The Ministry of Youth and Sport Sarawak is committed to provide, nurture and execute comprehensive planning related to youth and sport in terms of human capital development, physical development, and socio-economic development for the well-being of Sarawakian. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry has managed to implement 361 youth and sport programs this year, with a total of 27,173 participants. Under Project Rakyat and RMK 11, the Ministry has been allocated RM365 million to undertake the development of 42 sport facilities throughout the state. The Ministry will continue to provide more conducive sport facilities and organize more programs to develop our youth. Datuk Amar Speaker, sekarang saya berpindah kepada Kementerian Perdagangan Antarabangsa, Industri, Terminal dan Perindustrian dan Pembangunan Usahawan. This year has been a very difficult year for all of us, as the global economy is experiencing the worst recession since World War II because of the COVID-19 pandemic, impacting negatively on all major sectors, especially SMEs. However, we are grateful to the Right Honourable Chief Minister for having the foresight and vision to leapfrog Sarawak into digital economy by leveraging on Industry 4.0 since 2017. I will now report on my ministry's achievement thus far. Performance of the state manufacturing sector in 2020. To date, State Industrial Coordination Committee, ICC, has approved 56 investment projects, totaling RM 21.6 billion, creating about 11,600 employment opportunities for the state. Out of this, 19 are ICA, Industrial Coordination Act 1975 projects, totaling RM 15.8 billion, mainly in basic metal product, wood and wood-based product, and transport equipment product. These projects are expected to create about 6,000 employment opportunities in the state. The remaining 37 ICC projects, totaling RM 5.8 billion, are mainly in electrical and electronic product, non-metallic mineral product, wood and wood-based product, renewable energy, transport equipment product, etc. These investments are expected to create about 5,600 employment opportunities in the state. Under RMK 11, total approved investment for Sarawak manufacturing sector is recorded at RM 51.9 billion, creating about 31,900 new employment opportunities. FDI accounted for 57.8%. That is about 30 billion ringgit Malaysia of the total approved investment, while DDI constituted the remaining 42.2%, about 21.9 billion ringgit Malaysia. Our performance in attracting investment thus far has been commendable, despite strong competition from other states and neighboring countries. For this, I must thank YAB Ketua Menteri for his unwavering support in our effort to attract more FDI and DDI to Sarawak. I would also like to thank the federal government under YAB Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin for working closely with Sarawak government in approving these investments, which are critical for Sarawak and Malaysia to achieve high economic growth, especially during this current pandemic. Datuk Amar Speaker, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, Sarawak continues to be an attractive investment destination in Malaysia, and my ministry will continue to engage with investors either in person or online. For the first 9 months of this year, Sarawak ranked number 1 as the most preferred investment destination in Malaysia in terms of investment value in manufacturing sector, which is about RM 15.8 billion as reported by MIDA. Due to the increasing global demand for mobile devices, hard disk drives, servers, and energy storage solutions, as well as automotive products, Taiyudan, Western Digital, IMN Technology, Elgin, and expat are proceeding with their expansion plan in Samajaya valued at RM 6.46 billion ringgit Malaysia. This investment by the foreign investors, especially during this challenging time, are clear manifestations of the investors' continued confidence in our leadership. Even during this challenging period, serious foreign investors continue to seek investment opportunities in Sarawak, including one from South Korea, where 4 of its senior representatives have traveled to Sarawak and willingly undergone 14 days quarantine to conduct their feasibility study for their investment recently. The company is pleased with the finding, and my ministry is confident that the company will choose Sarawak for its RM 2.3 billion investment. Investors from China are also in the midst of applying to enter Sarawak to further their feasibility studies in mathematics for their proposed USD 5.2 billion oil and gas project in Sarawak. An MOU was also signed recently between ACDC Energy Sdn Bhd and Japan Sumitomo Corporation and INOS Corporation on the establishment of a hydrogen production facility in Bintulu. We have also commenced discussion with another foreign company on their proposed hydrogen project. The joint venture between Japanese companies and HDIDC subsidiary on biomass industrial fuel pellet project is at the testing stage. This project, worth RM 126 million, is expected to commence construction at Tanjung Manis in mid-2022. The RM 500 million battery project of Demak Laut is under construction. This is a joint venture between China and Sarawak companies. The RM 5.7 billion methanol plant in Kidurong is under site preparations, and similarly, the RM 17.05 billion steel project in Samalaju is expected to commence site preparation soon. My ministry will continue to facilitate all these investments so that we do not miss out on these opportunities even during this pandemic. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, SME is the backbone of Malaysia's economy that contributes significantly to the national GDP, export and employment. However, the economic repercussions arising from the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic and the implementation of movement control order have impacted the performance of SMEs in 2020. Based on the survey conducted by my ministry, about 75% of SMEs are expected to register losses in 2020. Similar findings were also recorded by SME Corp. Hence, the challenges now rely on the speed and agility of the SMEs to adopt differentiated strategies to survive in new business landscape by embracing digitalization for their business operation apart from the assistance provided by the government. In our effort to caution the disruptive impacts of COVID-19 pandemic to the rakyat, including SMEs, the state government has provided numerous assistance valued at RM 1.741 billion under Bantuan Khas Sarawak Kusayang BKSS, in addition to the assistance provided by the federal government through Prihatin and Penjana. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, untuk makluman Dewan Yang Mulia ini, bagi tahun 2020, Kementerian saya telah memberi bantuan kepada PKS dalam pelbagai bidang seperti skim kredit Meko Sarawak diperuntukkan 50 juta ringgit, Malaysia, subsidi untuk Special Relief Fund diperuntukkan RM80.7 juta, skim pinjaman industri kecil dan sederhana diperuntukkan RM5.4 juta, program graduan ke arah keusahawanan dan usahawan teknikal dan vocational diperuntukkan RM2.4 juta, pembangunan kapasiti dan promosi dan pemasaran, misalnya penubuhan Sarawak Trade and Tourism Office Statue di Singapura dan Sarawak Product Pavilion di Kuala Lumpur telah memberi peluang yang besar kepada PKS Sarawak untuk menembusi pasaran yang lebih luas dan pasaran antarabangsa. Kita juga bercadang untuk menubuhkan pejabat yang sama di Pontianak, Indonesia dan negara Brunei Darussalam. Sarawak merupakan satu-satunya negeri di Malaysia yang memberikan subsidi kadar faedah, interest subsidi, bagi tempoh 3 tahun setengah kepada PKS di bawah skim SRF, SK, MS dan SPIK semasa krisis pandemik ini. Inilah istimewanya kerajaan GPS Sarawak. Secara keseluruhannya, bagi tempoh rancangan Malaysia ke-11, kementerian saya telah membantu lebih 32,000 usahawan dalam pembangunan kapasiti, bantuan kewangan dan promosi. Kementerian saya akan terus berusaha untuk membantu PKS supaya lebih berkembang, terutamanya semasa pandemik ini. Untuk makluman Dewan Yang Mulia ini, Kementerian Kebajikan, Kesejahteraan Komuniti, Wanita, Keluarga dan Pembangunan Kanak-kanak juga menawarkan 2 bantuan atau inisiatif untuk memperkasakan wanita dan keluarga seperti berikut: grant usahawan di bawah Jabatan Wanita dan Keluarga Sarawak telah menawarkan grant berjumlah RM2,000 Malaysia sebagai modal pusingan bagi 1,000 usahawan wanita yang perniagaan mereka terkesan akibat pandemik COVID-19. Dalam masa yang sama, JWKS juga membantu usahawan wanita untuk mendaftar perniagaan mereka melalui Task Force Bimbingan Pendaftaran Perniagaan dan Lesen Dagangan Usahawan Sarawak. Setakat ini, seramai 116 wanita telah berjaya mendaftarkan lesen perniagaan mereka. Grant usahawan mikro kebajikan di bawah Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat Sarawak menawarkan grant perniagaan bernilai RM5,000 kepada usahawan mikro. Dari 2013 hingga 2020, seramai 3,675 penerima bantuan kebajikan bulanan dan ahli keluarga telah mendapat manfaat. Dato' Amar Speaker, under the 11 Malaysia Plan, Mantrade has been approved a total ceiling of RM309.3 million Malaysia for 19 industrial parks and 8 Anjung Usahawan Development Project. Out of this, RM250.7 million, about 81%, had been expended to date. 11 projects have been completed, 10 projects are under various stages of construction, 3 projects are at the tender stage, 2 projects are under design stage, and 1 project is under land acquisition. My ministry will continue to develop more industrial parks and Anjung Usahawan, especially in the rural towns in Sarawak, under RMK 12 to benefit more SMEs. Dato' Amar Speaker, to ensure greater participation of the state in oil and gas sector and enhance revenue from our petroleum resources, a committee has been set up to facilitate negotiations between Sarawak GPS government, federal government and Petronas to find commercial solutions on these matters. The negotiations are still ongoing between the 3 parties. The state government is firmly committed to exercise regulatory control over exploration and mining of oil and gas within the territorial boundaries of the state to accomplish the following strategic objectives. 1. having a greater and more equitable say of the revenues from oil and gas found and produced in Sarawak. 2, regaining complete control of onshore mining as manifested by the issuance of 2 oil mining leases to Petros under the State Oil Mining Ordinance 1958. 3, equity participation in existing offshore mining blocks and an established framework for the awards of new offshore mining blocks. 4, securing greater volume of natural gas produced in onshore and offshore areas to boost the state industrial development agenda, including the establishment of a petrochemical hub in Bintulu. 5, taking control of gas distribution in Sarawak, including the distribution of liquefied petroleum gas. And 6, ensuring greater participation of Sarawak companies in work and supply contracts in the state's oil and gas sector. In order to increase the revenues from oil and gas, the state government has decided to impose 5% sales tax on petroleum products from 1st January 2019. For year 2019, we have collected RM 3.09 billion from SST on petroleum products. For this, I wish to place on record the strong determination of YIB Chief Minister to fight for Sarawak's right and eventually secure the payment of SST from Petronas and other petroleum companies operating in Sarawak. More revenues from investment in downstream industries like the LNG plant and through equity participation in offshore block are expected in future. Given our credible leadership and political stability, as well as our sound oil and gas policy, Shell has decided to relocate its upstream operation to Miri, involving around 2,000 of its employees. This is a clear manifestation of Shell's confidence in the state conducive business environment for investment. Mr. Speaker, for Sarawak to achieve a vision of high-income economy by 2030, we must have sustained political stability. Political stability is paramount in order to be able to govern well and attract more foreign investment, creating more business and employment opportunities, more so during this pandemic, where the government of the day puts all of its time, efforts, and resources to focus on the well-being of the rakyat and building the economy instead of politicking. Jangan gila kuasa saja. Jangan gila cari nombor saja, seperti apa yang berlaku di Melaya sana. Pakatan Harapan has been given the opportunity to govern the country for 22 months. And look what had happened. The value of our currency dropped, bursa saham jatuh, confidence level among investors hilang, projek yang sudah dilulus pun dibatalkan, program bantuan untuk kebajikan masyarakat dipotong, untuk baik pulih dan bina semula rumah untuk golongan miskin pun dipotong, pembayaran balik PTPTN untuk dihapuskan tidak jadi, recognition of UEC tidak jadi, tidak seperti Sarawak yang recognize UEC. Janji 20% royalty minyak untuk Sarawak pun tidak jadi. Janji 50% tax collected in Sarawak to be given back to Sarawak juga kosong. Banyak lagi. Semua ini membuktikan parti-parti Melaya dalam Pakatan Harapan pembula aja. Pakatan Harapan sebenarnya pakatan harap-harap saja. bagi kita di Sarawak, Kerajaan Pakatan Harapan hanyalah kerajaan yang tahu potong-potong saja dan berpolitik. Dato' Amar Speaker, only GPS can safeguard the rights and interests of Sarawak and to unite the people of Sarawak. The Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020 passed on Thursday is a clear reflection of our desire to protect Sarawak. Indeed, it was disappointing that our opposition chose not to support the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020. This shows their true color. Fortunately, in Sarawak, we have a stable government under the strong leadership of the Right Honourable Chief Minister to unite and guide us through this very challenging time, put us on the right path to economic recovery and progress Sarawak towards greater prosperity. Sarawak first is the guiding principle of GPS. Hak Sarawak akan tetap diutamakan. GPS will always fight for the rights of Sarawak, and we have done so without fear. We have won the battle on SST against Petronas, and we have taken control of our onshore mining. GPS is a responsible government that has proven its sincerity and ability to govern Sarawak well. We have not gone bankrupt, as claimed by the former PH Minister. This has not happened and will not happen under GPS. Instead, our revenues have increased substantially. Dato' Amar Speaker, Tuai Sarawak amat paguh. Rakyat lantang laban BKSS. Anang jaku bayuh-mayuh. Stay safe, enggau GPS. Sebelum mengakhiri ucapan penghuluan ini, saya ingin menyampaikan penghargaan kepada Dato' Amar Speaker kerana berjaya mendirikan persidangan DUN dengan tegas dan baik yang memudahkan urusan kita berjalan dengan lancar. Saya juga ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada semua pegawai yang terlibat dalam menjayakan persidangan kali ini. Saya ingin mengambil kesempatan ini juga untuk mengucapkan selamat Hari Deepavali, selamat Hari Christmas, selamat Tahun Baru 2021 dan selamat Tahun Baru Cina kepada semua rakyat Sarawak. Sama-samalah kita mematuhi SOP semasa menyambut hari-hari perayaan yang akan datang, dan kita ucapkan terima kasih kepada all our frontliners yang bekerja bersungguh-sungguh demi untuk keselamatan kita bersama. Stay safe with GPS. Kita jaga kita jaga Sarawak, kita into Sarawak. Terima kasih.
Adalah yang berhormat, dengan segala hormatnya saya menjemput Yang Berhormat Tan Sri Dato' Amar Dr. James Jemut Masing, Timbalan Ketua Menteri, Menteri Infrastruktur dan Pembangunan, Pelabuhan dan Ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri balik untuk menyampaikan ucapan penggulungan.
Terima kasih Tuan Speaker. We are now saddled with COVID-19 pandemic, whereby Kuching is declared as a red zone. Thus, this DUN session is shortened to 5 instead of 8 days. Due to this limitation of days and consequently time, and considering that I have been tasked to do my winding up speech involving 3 ministries, namely my ministry, MIPD, Ministry of Utilities, and Ministry of Transport, and 3 state agencies, namely State Service Modernization Unit, UPPN, State Security and Enforcement Unit, UKPN, and Sarawak Multimedia Authority, SMA. Therefore, Tuan Speaker, I would appreciate it very much if members of this august House do not interrupt me. However, sir, if any member wishes to seek further clarification on issue raised pertaining to my Ministry of Infrastructure and Port Development, please do see me or meet me at any of my staff after this June sitting. Meanwhile, for clarification of issues other than that of my ministry, you may raise them with respective ministries and agencies after the sitting too. Thank you, Tuan Speaker. Federal Budget 2021. Tuan Speaker, 2021 Federal Budget announced by the Minister of Finance, Malaysia recently, totaling RM 322.5 billion, with the theme "Stand United, We Shall Prevail," is the largest in Malaysian history. It is indeed a people-centric budget and is vital in securing the welfare of the rakyat and business community as we continue to battle against COVID-19 pandemic. Out of the total development allocation of 69 billion, Sarawak is allocated with a sum of 4.5 billion, amongst others for the construction and upgrading of water, electricity, and road infrastructure, health, education facilities, despite of an increase of only 1 million in comparison with the approved 2020 development allocation of 4.4 billion, it is an overall and acceptable budget as the whole for Malaysia as Malaysia continues to grapple with COVID-19 pandemic. With this, I thank federal government for the assistance and subsidies rendered to our riot is able to ride through these challenging times. State Budget 2021. The State Budget 2021 presented by the Right Honourable Chief Minister and Minister of Finance Sarawak with the theme "Reinvigorating the Economy Towards a Caring, Resilient and Inclusive Society" was well formulated budget and living up to a theme which is caring, resilient and inclusive. I'm happy to note that 2021 state budget continued to be a surplus budget of 180 million ringgit with an estimated total revenue of 10.012 billion ringgit and a total proposed ordinary expenditure of 9.832 billion. It is crucial that we continue to have surplus budget to ensure that our future needs are met and the well-being of Sarawakians are taken care of in the times of uncertainty post-COVID-19. The development budget, which is rural bias state budget for 2021, is important to narrow the disparity gap between the urban and rural areas. I strongly welcome and support this rural bias budget as I hail from the rural area. Despite this, the GPS government is not in any way neglecting the development of urban sectors. Setting up Sarawak Economic Action Council, or SESI, is a commendable effort by our state government, by our state's effort COVID-19 exit economic strategy. With more emphasis toward infrastructure development under SESI initiative, my ministry will be gearing up and on planning and implementation of crucial impactful projects under 12 Malaysia Plan to further improve the connectivity and accessibility, especially in rural areas. I would like to reiterate here some of the proposed projects which were mentioned by the Right Honourable Chief Minister in his 2021 State Budget Address. 1. Proposed Jalan Nangaibaw Ulu Sungai Ibaw Kapit. I would like therefore to thank the GPS government for this meaningful project given to rural constituency. 2. Proposed construction of road from Kampung Bako to Kampung Buntal, Kuching, which when completed will be the last mile of our coastal road network. With the completion of this road, traffic congestion will be reduced by diverting road users coming from Santubong, Bako, and Buntal without having to pass through Kuching City if they wish to travel to Samarahan and beyond. And 3, proposed construction of Rantau Panjang Rasau Road, Batang Igan Phase 1, Muka. With the completion of the Tarsal Road, the people in the area can expect better access to other parts of Sarawak. The continuous effort of by GP's government to develop the state and to ensure that no one is left behind is applauded. Indeed, I would like to stress here, Sarawak first, development matters for the people and by the people. Infrastructure development. Tuan Speaker, Sarawak has been developing slowly but steadily in terms of infrastructure development over the years. Accessibility, Tuan Speaker, is one of the core ingredients essential for any development. It serves as the backbone for economic activities like tourism, provide access for cultivation, and allow our product to reach its consumers. While Sarawak is developing our digital economy, infrastructure is and shall remain as an integral part that support physical movement of humans and goods. In support of the digital economy, I cannot but agree with Ali Yang Berhormat Pembekalan, the former Federal Minister of Works, Malaysia, when he said in this August House on the 11th November 2020, I quote, "Road infrastructure is crucial in any country's development plan. The connectivity it provides serves as a catalyst for economic activities," unquote. The motto of my ministry, which is linked and developed, has therefore accurately portrayed the essence of what the ministry does and the objective that we hope to achieve. To be a developed state by 2030, infrastructure network has to be built between towns and villages, which will then allow the development of various industries to take place. The vision of Sarawak becoming a developed state by 2030 can only be realized when it has a ministry that links and develops. Our Chief Minister has placed a lot of emphasis on this aspect of enhanced infrastructure development, was accorded the recognition and the budget it requires to achieve this objective. Tuan Speaker, only a few years ago, Kapit was only reachable via riverine transport. It was a town with cars, despite no road connectivity to anywhere else. Kapit was so isolated that vehicle owners just left their keys and vehicle owned by the roadside without any fear of theft then. But today's Kapit entire landscape has changed. Hence, my advice to any visitors to Kapit, please do not leave your vehicle unlocked that you did in the olden days. Kapit is no longer an island within the island of Borneo. The 120 kilometer of Cebu-Kapit Road has physically connected Kapit with the other parts of Sarawak. Very soon, Sir, Kapit will be connected into the interior with the construction and completion of more than 200 kilometers of roads under the 12th Malaysia Plan. On October 4th, 2020, the Right Honourable Chief Minister led an expedition on motorbike from Cebu to Kapit. The journey via newly completed road took us only 1 hour and 45 minutes, compared to the 3 hours long express boat ride we otherwise had to take to make it to Kapit during that time. Then, sir, on the 20th October this year, I visited a longhouse at Sungai Bido Tutus, which is located in Bawang Asan. Instead of road, as I do now to Kapit, the way to reach the longhouse in Bawang Asan still remains like it was 30 years ago, which was and still is via vessel along the Igan River. No other words could describe the embarrassment, Tuan Speaker, which I see the place is devoid of development and without any apparent road connectivity, especially when the area is represented by Ali Yang Mohamad Pabawang Asan, who was also a finance minister too, and a minister of infrastructure of development and communication for 8 years. Because of that, I would like to share this with this August House, the ongoing construction of the 32-kilometer Jalan Sungai Bidut, Tutus, Sebedil, Kampung Bungan Kecil, traversing the whole stretch of Dun, Bawang Asan at the cost of 340 million, even though the Kuasan is under PSB. Tuan Speaker, sir, Ali Yang Mohamad Padudong had requested during his debate yesterday in this August House for GPS government to be fair in allocating funds for development, including in all opposition areas. Sir, yes, we are fair. The GPS government has always and will be fair in channeling development projects so that Sarawakians, regardless of political affiliation, race and religion, will be able to enjoy the fruits of development. The only way we could ensure this is to set aside our political differences, prioritize our people's needs, and build connectivity to where it is most needed. This is why my ministry allocated 340 million to Dun Bawang Asan. With the completion of 30-kilometer Jalan Sungai Bidut, Tutus, Bedil, Kampung Bungan Kecil, road that cut across Bawang Asan, traveling distance from coast to the interior of Sarawak would be much reduced. A journey from Mukah to Kapit, for example, sir, will take less than 5 hours and vice versa. Kapit folks could then enjoy the beaches of Mukah while sampling umai and other Melanau delicacies within just a few hours of drive. Imagine, sir, how this would benefit our local communities when domestic tourism activities such as start to flourish, and this is what happened. This is what development means under GPS government, sir. GPS government will look at ways to expedite the construction and completion of coastal road network and the second trunk road in view of the strategic roles, positive impact and benefit this road will bring to our people once they are completed. Under the coastal road network and the second trunk road program, there are 13 bridges which are currently at various stages of implementation. As of now, out of 13 bridges, 10 have been awarded and under construction, while 3 are still under documentation stage, where a decision is still yet to be made. With the completion of coastal road projects, the economic potential of our coastal areas will enhance as the road travels will present economic opportunities for development of large-scale agriculture and aquaculture projects. Once completed, Tuan Speaker, the second trunk road project will complement the coastal road and the Pan Borneo Highways road network. Apart from shortening the traveling time from Cebu to Kuching by 2.5 hours, the second trunk road will open up native customary land and settlement located between the coastal and Pan Borneo Highway. Again, MIPD, that's my ministry's motto, links and develop, remains very relevant. Border security road, sir. Tuan Speaker, the importance of security cannot be taken lightly. Because of that, excuse me, the importance of border security cannot be taken lightly. Because of that, a border security road network with a total length of 1,030 kilometers has been proposed and approved by GPS government and principal. The proposed border security road will originate from Biawak to Lubok Antu, passing through Kapit Division and Upper Baram River, then to Barrio, and finally to be connected to Sarawak-Sabah Link Road. The completion of border security road will enable us to safeguard and protect a multi-billion ringgit asset, such as Sarawak-Sabah gas pipeline and 4 of our hydroelectric power dams project, namely Bakun, Murum, Baleh, and Batang-ai, all of which are located adjacent to our international border with Indonesia. With an estimated cost of ringgit 24 billion, my ministry is seeking for federal funding under the 12th Malaysia Plan for this. Air connectivity. Tuan Speaker, development cannot grow in isolation without air connectivity. In our effort to enhance rural economic transformation, therefore, GPS government is undertaking to construct 2 airports which is known as Toll Port, Short Takeoff and Landing Airport at Bukit Mabong and Kapit, and Bebuling and Betong. These projects are at the early planning stages, with construction expected to commence in 2021. Air connectivity will be improved and expanded within this region in the interest of Sarawak to provide better accessibility that is affordable and reliable to generate economic, especially through the development of tourism sector. Project Rakyat. Tuan Speaker, our Chief Minister is committed, very serious, in delivering meaningful projects under Project Rakyat. My ministry, with the assistance of other agencies, is being tasked to deliver a total of 142 infrastructure development amounting to amount of 5.6 billion throughout Sarawak. These 84 projects, 27 bridges, 4 jetties, 24 buildings, and 2 state-funded airports. The status of 142 Project Rakyat as of 3rd November 2020, as 16 projects have been completed, 78 projects are under construction, and 48 projects are under design. Ports. Tuan Speaker, port plays a vital role in the overall logistic chain of goods delivery for our state. Up to 30 September 2020, all ports in Sarawak, namely Kuching Port, Mary Port, Tanjung Manis Port, and Semalaju Port, have all experienced decrease in cargo handling as the result of COVID-19 pandemic, except for Rajang Port Authority, which has experienced an increase of cargo throughput. In order to remain competitive, several development projects for ports in Sarawak have been planned to improve their capacity and security. The Vessel Traffic Management System, or VTMS, for Kuching Port was approved earlier this year and expected to be in operation by the end of 2021. For the other ports, this will come in stages. The installation of ATON, that is 8 navigation at Batang, Rajang, Tanjung Manis Port, is expected to be in operation by the end of 2021. Border Food Security Committee. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, Sarawak border port remained closed to immigration until the end of this year. The Border Food Security Committee, through Kuching Port Authority, or KPA, has coordinated the export and delivery of essential goods to Indonesians living on the other side of the border. This export and delivery of essential goods to Nanga Badau on 21st of May 2020 and Arok, the Indonesian, 2nd July 2020, were assisted by Royal Malaysian Customs Department, Royal Malaysian Air Force, Immigration Department, Veterinary Department, and other relevant government agency. It was a success, and we may be asked to assist them again in the near future. Upper Rajang Development Authority, URDA. Tuan Speaker, in 2019, the Sarawak government approved a total of 4.5 billion ringgit or 1.5 billion to each of the three development agencies under RECODA, that is Regional Corridor Development Authority, namely Upper Rajang Development Agency, URDA, Highland Development Authority, HDA, and Northern Region Development Agency, NRDA. For URDA, there are currently 41 projects to be implemented by 2021 and beyond, ranging from roads, bridges to water supplies, which will greatly uplift the lives of people in this region. On 4th October 2020, our Chief Minister announced that another 1.5 billion will be allocated to URDA to implement more projects. The project will have been identified as 77 km Nanga Mujong, Naga Tiao, Sungai Tuno, and 2, to carry out master plan studies for town expansion and socio-economic growth for Kapit, Belaga, and Bakun, which are expected to be completed by 2021. In this regard, on behalf of URDA, I would like to thank our Chief Minister for his very kind gesture. Achievements. In Sarawak government development agenda has been proven to its development bias budget in the annual budget provision for the past 2 decades. The success of project implementation lies with each and every one of us. And a lot of infrastructure projects under my ministry would have not been possible, sir, if it's not been for the alih-alih government, including those from the opposition who have gone to the ground, engage with the people, provide feedback to my ministry as one of the input for me to carry on our planning. The completion of Batang Baleh Bridge, Sungai Mujong Bridge, Banyau Bridge, as well as the 120 km Sibu Kapit Road are clear testimonies to the earnest effort of our GPS government in developing rural areas. My ministry, together with Public Works Department, target to connect a total of 6,099 rural villages to public roads by 2030. Up to this year, a total of 3,172 villages have been connected, with the remaining 2,927 villages to be connected by 2030. This is a very massive challenge for GPS government. That is why we need assistance of every YB, regardless what politics you belong to. Let us work together to make Sarawak a better place for everybody. Sarawak Road Safety Council, MKJR Sarawak. Tuan Speaker, for the information of this August House, Sarawak Road Safety Council, which is currently under the purview of my ministry, will be officially handed over to Ministry of Transport Sarawak on January 1st, 2021. As the chairman of Sarawak Road Safety Council, I would like to thank all the committee members from the state, federal agencies, resident offices, local authorities, and corporate entities for all their commitment, contribution, and effort in carrying out all the programs under the Council. Now I'd like to touch on other 2 ministries, namely Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Utilities. This ministry were under our charge and in Sarawak, under our charge in the Sarawak Economic Action Council cluster. Besides these 2 ministries, I would also like to touch on Sarawak Service Modernization Unit atau UPPN, Sarawak Security and Enforcement Unit UKPN, and Sarawak Multimedia Authority SMA. First, sir, I'll touch on Ministry of Transport. Tuan Speaker, transport sector is the backbone of the development in any country, enabling the seamless movement of people from one point to another, and efficient transportation of goods from production areas to markets. Therefore, a competitive transport sector that acts as an enabler is required to accelerate the growth of the economic sector, especially in agriculture, manufacturing, mining, and tourism. Bantuan Khas Sarawak Ku Sayang BKSS. A sum of 3.397 million was allocated under BKSS to relieve the financial burden of 199 penambang operators, 1,976 taxi drivers, 739 school bus and van operators, and 959 licensed van drivers, and 2,396 e-hailing drivers, and 791 driving instructors. Since the inception of Ministry of Transport, Sarawak on 22nd August 2019, various main initiatives were implemented for the benefit of the people. 1 ringgit Malaysia flat rate bus fare. The RM1 flat rate bus fare program was implemented in Kuching, Cebu, and Miri since 12 May 2020 to date and has benefited more than 608,488 people. Free school bus. The free school bus service, which started in Kuching, was launched by the Right Honourable Chief Minister on 17 July 2020 and will be extended to Miri and other towns in Sarawak. Smart traffic lights. Under the SM8RT Mobility Initiative, the Sarawak government is implementing SCAT, SCATS, a Sydney Coordinated Adapted Traffic System for 72 traffic signals to provide safe movement of intersection for vehicles and pedestrians in the state. The installation of 42 SCAT, CASTS traffic system in Kuching is scheduled to complete in first quarter of 2021. This will be extended to Miri, Bintulu, and Cebu. Automated Rapid Transit ART under Kuching Urban Transportation System KUTS. The Sarawak government is implementing Kuching Urban Transport System KUTS, of which the main component is the Animated Traffic Transit ART. ART will be powered by hydrogen fuel cells and is proposed to run on virtual track at Semarahan Lane and Siaran Lane. Sarawak Semarahan Line and Siaran Line. ART will be complemented by feeder bus service that provides the last mile journey. Sarawak Riverboat atau SRB. Based on record, about 1.2 million passengers move through the wharves and terminal annually, which are managed by Sarawak Riverboat. Sarawak Riverboats will continue to ensure that the river run transport system will be affordable, safe, and reliable through the installation and continuous upgrading of its navigational aton and the strengthening of river enforcement activities. Ministry of Utilities. Tuan Speaker, the Ministry of Utilities aspire to have world-class utilities which are reliable, economical, safe, and sustainable throughout Sarawak to uplift the economic and social well-being of Sarawakians. It targets 100% coverage for both water and electricity supplies by the year 2025 and maintaining a generation mix of at least 60% hydro by 2030. The major projects that have impacted on our policies are as follows. 1. Water supply. The current water supply coverage of 84.1%. The Ministry has embarked on the implementation of Sarawak Water Supply Master Plan and Water Grid since 2018. The Master Plan and Water Grid are implemented in stages. A. Implementation of Project Rakyat and Stress Area comprising 322 varying projects to minimize the current water issues such as insufficient capacity, aging system, and low water pressure. B. The Master Plan Strategies Trust until 2070 will include addressing the water demand, water treatment plants and distribution, water quality and adequacy of both raw and treated water. C. The implementation of Sarawak Alternative Rural Water Supply (SAWAS) program. And D. Leveraging on digitalization and the strengthening of water supply by establishing a single water entity during 12th Malaysia Plan. Generation, transmission, and distribution network development. One speaker, the 1,285 megawatt Baleh Hydro Project Plan and the 82 megawatt Tanjung Kedurong combined cycle plant are being constructed to provide the energy capacity needed to support Sarawak future growth and development as a high-income state. To provide adequate transmission security, capacity for future system load growth, and 500 kilovolt backbone transmission system stretching from Semalajau to Tundong is implemented, and various transmission substations, transmission lines, and distribution systems are being constructed. To one speaker, Rural Electrification Scheme, RES development. Under the Rural Electrification Master Plan, the various initiatives to extend the 24 supply to rural areas are as follows. A. Rural Power Supply Scheme, RPS, that extend the 132 kilovolt and higher voltage transmission grid system into the interior. B. The RES Last Mile project that extend the 33 kilovolt and lower voltage distribution grid line to villages and longhouses. C. The stand-alone hybrid system for remote accessible villages inaccessible to the grid system. And D. The stand-alone Sarawak Alternative Electrification Supply or SARES using solar energy for an estimate 400 smaller villages or longhouses inaccessible to the grid. Green agenda. To one speaker, beside hydro, solar power has been identified as one of the potential renewable sources. A pilot 400 megawatt floating solar farm project at Batangai Reservoir will be implemented as a case study to determine the suitability of implementing large-scale floating solar projects and other hydroelectric and other hydropower reservoirs. The Ministry of Utilities has submitted for funding under 12th Malaysia Plan to subsidize home solar rooftop installation. The household will also benefit from reduced electricity costs under the Net Energy Metering NEM scheme, whereby this electricity usage will be deducted from SCB electricity bill. To one speaker, interconnection to Sabah. Interconnection to neighboring states will enhance power export potential of Sarawak in renewable energy. The negotiation between Sarawak and Sabah for the interconnection to Sabah is being finalized. Besides enhancing system reliability and security for both states by sharing of generation resources, this interconnection is part of the Borneo Grid agenda that will facilitate economic collaboration and development between the two regions. Bintulu Semelaju gas pipeline and Pan-Sarawak virtual pipeline system. With Sarawak having full regulatory control over its domestic gas distribution under the Distribution of Gas Ordinance 2016, DGO 2016, the Sarawak government planned to expand the coverage of natural gas (NG) distribution across Sarawak to enable greater utilization of gas. Thus, there is a plan to develop Bintulu Semelaju gas pipeline and Pan-Sarawak virtual pipeline system. The State Civil Service the State Civil Service Modernization Unit, Digital Government Connectivity. SarawakNet is an official communication platform used by the State Civil Service since 1996. In addressing these immediate needs for benefit for better services to our rakyat and rural communities, the Sarawak government has taken the initiative to install new, very small aperture terminal of VISAT at public areas. Under this initiative, the government will provide free internet connection to public through the existing SarawakNet infrastructure using VISAT technology, where each site will be provided with 30 megabits per second Mbps bandwidth. As of now, a total of 3,069 devices have been registered under Phase 1 initiative comprising 20 villages from 8 divisions, while the Phase 2, 40 villages have been identified and will commence in November 2020. By having this initiative, it will provide better internet performance experience to rural communities, and subsequently, this will increase the take-up rate and bridge the digital divide between the rural and urban areas. Service Sarawak. In transforming the government service delivery has always been one of the important initiatives of the Sarawak government. Service Sarawak was launched in 2nd December 2018 and served as a single point of contact for our people to access to government service through multiple service channels, which are 1. Sarawak Service Center, 2. Service Sarawak Kiosk, 3. Service Sarawak mobile apps, and 4. Service Sarawak portal preferred by customers. To that, apart from Sarawak Service Center at UTC Center, actually UTC Kuching, UTC Sibu, and UTC Miri, we have also enhanced the existing Sarawak government information kiosk and payment kiosks. The centers and kiosks have been identified more than 700,000 customers, providing more than 1 million transactions and collected more than 1 billion in revenue. State Security Enforcement Unit. To one speaker, the state government has set up Sarawak government has set up Sarawak Coast Guard to protect 788 kilometers of Sarawak coastline, and 90 million ringgit has been allocated to the state budget in 2020 to undertake various programs and projects. The asset of Sarawak Coast Guard include 6 interceptors, 51 newly recruited Coast Guard, 9 patrol boats. There will be several Coast Guard headquarters offices proposed under the 12 Malaysia plan. Having all these capacities and resources, the Sarawak Coast Guard is expected to operate in 2021. Sarawak Multimedia Authority, SMA. Tuan Speaker, digital economy development. Since 2017, the Sarawak Multimedia SMA was set up to drive the strategic digital economic initiative and has initiated 66 digital economic projects. Digital infrastructure. In order to leverage on the digital economy for a quality and equitable connectivity, the Sarawak government has approved the implementation of 600 SMA rural telecommunication or smart towers. To date, 202 of these towers have been completed, providing connection to rural areas, while the remaining towers will be installed in stages by 2022. Tuan Speaker, FinTech. In addition, the government has launched Pay in November 2017. Launched Sarawak Pay in November 2017. The first Sarawak government-owned FinTech platform, which is being patronized by majority of Sarawakian. Sarawak Pay has now overtaken the likes of Touch and Go e-wallet, Boost Grab Pay in terms of subscribers. Smart agriculture. One of the early success of the digital economy is also the ability to create successful smart farm at Taman Kekal Penggelaran Makanan TKPM, Rempangi, with the utilization of Internet of Things, IoT, and automation. This has attracted the youth interest in digital economy and farming. Tuan Speaker, digital entrepreneurship. Digital economy eventually is to be driven by private sector. Hence, the Sarawak government is investing heavily in ensuring that these private sectors and the young innovators in Sarawak are given the necessary access in aid to the digital economy, and with establishment of 7 digital innovation hubs covering Serikei, Kuching, Miri, Bintulu, and Cebu. Another 6 innovation hubs are to be in the pipeline to be implemented in other divisions. Digital solution during COVID-19 pandemic. The wisdom of strengthening the state digital capability is clearly manifested during the pandemic period. Through the State Disaster Management Committee, SDMC, Sarawak was the first state to implement systematic digital solution to record and control movement to manage the pandemic. During the initial movement control order period, digital solution was also used to quickly channel the official information to the public. In addition, sir, the Sarawak government leveraged on Sarawak Pay to expeditiously channel the much-needed aid to micro business under Bantuan Khas Sarawak Ku Sayang (BKSS) to 2.1 program within days. The FinTech platform provides means for quick registration of those businesses previously not recorded, so that they were not left out from the crucial aid. Meanwhile, smart traffic light solution enabled the government to monitor the effectiveness of movement control order via volume of traffic. Issue raised by Ali Yang Berhormat. Tuan Speaker, to Ali Yang Berhormat, thank you for all your comments and issues raised pertaining to my ministry, together with Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Utilities, State Service Organization Unit, State Security and Enforcement Unit, UTPN, and Sarawak Multimedia Authority, SMA. We will ensure that they are attended to appropriately. If not, you may knock at our office doors, and even camp in our offices until the matter is attended to. If I may quote from the Bible, sir, Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. It says, ask and you shall receive. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. Unquote. Therefore, sir, to all Aliyang Bomat, you may ask from my ministry, and if you ask, you may be given. Therefore, sir, I conclude, I would like to urge all Sarawakians to continue to give the full support to our GPS government, as without stability, we cannot have continuity in pursuing our development agenda. I wish to thank you, Tuan Speaker, for having successfully conducted and managed the proceeding of this August House in respect and skillful manner. I would like to thank you. I would like to thank my MIPD team, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Utilities, including all agencies, these three ministries, State Service Modernization Unit, State Security Enforcement Unit, UTPN, Sarawak Multimedia Authority, SMA, as well as the state and the federal civil servants, members of the media for your hard work and contribution toward the smooth running of this session. This COVID-19 pandemic has affected all of us tremendously. Therefore, we must continue to be vigilant, always adhere to the standard operating procedure (SOP) in view of the festivities that are just around the corner. With this, I would like to take this opportunity to wish all our Hindu friends a happy Deepavali, a blessed Merry Christmas to all Christian friends, and a happy and prosperous New Year. Please stay safe, keep safe, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Yang berhormat, dengan segala hormatnya saya menjemput Yang berhormat Dr. Amar Douglas Ugah Embas, Timbalan Ketua Menteri, Menteri Keuangan Kedua, Menteri Pemodenan Pertanian, Tanah Adat dan Pembangunan Wilayah, dan Ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri Bukit Saban untuk menyampaikan ucapan penggulungan.
Terima kasih, Datuk Amar Speaker. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate the Right Honourable Chief Minister, Datuk Petinggi Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zohari bin Tun Datuk Abaji Openg, for presenting the 2021 State Budget, which carries the theme reinvigorating the economy toward a resilient, caring and inclusive society. The 2021 State Budget is a testimony to a strong commitment of Sarawak government to expedite rural development, stimulate economic growth, and improving livelihood of the rakyat. I'm very grateful to Sarawak government under the leadership of Right Honourable Chief Minister for allocating Ringgit Malaysia 1.123 billion in the 2021 budget for strengthening agriculture transformation. This amount is an increase of 320 million or 40.9% over the 2020 approved budget. Datuk Amar Speaker, I'd like to congratulate you, Datuk Amar Speaker, for your reappointment as Speaker of the State Legislative Assembly. And also I'd like to extend my congratulations to members of this August House who has been bestowed with the respective state award on occasion of the 84th birthday celebration of His Excellency, the Governor of Sarawak. Datuk Amar Speaker, I'd like, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Ministry of Local Government and Housing, and Ministry of Well-being, Community, Women, Family, Childhood Development, and my ministry, would like to record our appreciation to all the Yang Berhormat that has raised the matter on the four ministry. All your constructive comment, suggestion, and recommendation are critical input to our ministry, and for us to have to develop each particular area within our ministry. Datuk Amar Speaker, I am glad to inform that the state agriculture sector has remained resilient and continue to be an important contributor to the state GDP. In 2019, the agriculture sector contributed 12.1% or ringgit Malaysia 16.5 billion to the state GDP and recorded state agriculture trade balance surpluses of ringgit Malaysia 6.9 billion. However, in terms of food trade balance, the state experienced ringgit Malaysia 3.9 billion deficit in 2019. The Thomas Speaker, allow me to highlight the major achievement in our effort to transform state agriculture sector into uplift the socio-economic status of the farming community. 1. Paddy and rice industry. Thomas Speaker, our target is to be 70% self-sufficiency for rice by 2030. And toward that end, we have 3 initiatives to ensure sufficient supply of quality paddy seed, upgrading of farm infrastructure, and intensifying farm mechanization to increase paddy productivity. On crop development, the government is committed to provide continuous assistance to smallholding cultivating major crop. In 2020, a sum of 76.1 million has been spent for commodity crop befitting 22,682 farm families. Development of AgroPark, the Thomas Speaker. AgroPark is a new land development model that involves anchor company with market access and technology, and also giving opportunity to smallholders to participate in commercial and market-driven agriculture. The government has identified 4 sites to be developed, namely Sadung Jaya, Samarahan, Parit Bugis, Serike, Lubuk Tamang, Debak, and Sungai Tisak in Semangang. Fisheries and aquaculture, the industrial development. To date, 1,974 hectares has been gazetted as aquaculture industrial zone, including Batangai, Rambungan, Lubuk Stov, Selalang, and Sunda Awat-Awat. Under the 11 Malaysia Plan, 70 farmers in AIZ, Batangai, and Sunda Awat-Awat has been assisted with the allocation of ringgit Malaysia 10 million for the red tilapia and sea bass culture. In terms of export, one of the leading companies in Sarawak has exported 2,251 metric ton worth ringgit Malaysia 61 million of frozen shrimp to 10 countries in 2019. At the end of the third quarter of this year, export has increased to 2,567 metric ton, estimate value of 63 million. And leading company also successfully export 60 metric ton of freshwater tilapia to Singapore since October 2019. Assistance to fishermen. I'd like to report the status of the assistance to fishermen during monsoon season, Bantuan Musim Tengkujuh Nelayan. To date, a sum of 5.08 million has been spent for the first 3 months, January, February, and March, to 5,601 fishermen in Sarawak. The remaining 2 months, November and December 2020, will be paid by early December. On Bantuan Input Peralatan Perikanan Nelayan, a sum of 20 million is in the process of implementation. Veterinary and livestock. In order to increase the population of ruminant, the state has imported 1,000 head of cattle, 300 head of buffalo, 1,320 head of goat, and 120 head of sheep from Australia. To date, a total of 5,044 head of cattle, 438 head of buffalo, 1,110 head of goat, and 120 head of sheep were distributed to entrepreneurs under PAWA scheme. In addition, artificial insemination and embryo transfer technology are being pursued to increase the population of ruminant in the state. The swine industry is a major export earner for the state. Sarawak, in 2020, Sarawak has exported 75,250 head of live porker worth 105 million ringgit to Singapore. In view of this, the government has provided 30 million to develop another 3 pig farming areas in Semunjan, Selangau, and Samarakan. Another lucrative industry is edible bird nest. In 2019, the export value of raw edible bird nest is ringgit Malaysia 69 million, and this up to October to this year. Export value is ringgit Malaysia 46 million. The Thomas Speaker, the Department of Agriculture is also implementing 471 kilometers of farm road costing 35.2 million. Currently, this project is under various stages of implementation. Agriculture facilities for collecting, processing, and distribution center, ensuring food chain. The government will build more facilities, CPPC, as wholesale market to collect, process, distribute agriculture produce in the food production area throughout the state. A sum of 10 million has been allocated this year. Strengthening farmers' organization capacity. Dr. Honourable Speaker, the government has approved 20 million for the construction of newly launched Pertubuh Peladang Negeri Sarawak Office Complex at Kota Samarahan. In addition, the government has approved an allocation of Ringgit Malaysia 2.6 million for operational costs for the year 2021 for PPNS, allocation of 10 million to finance various development programs. Dr. Honourable Speaker, I wish to report on the progress of agriculture venture capital financing facilities. To date, we have received a total of 20 applications with a combined value of Ringgit Malaysia 96.67 million. This project include livestock farming, pineapple planting, deep sea fishing, and food processing. As at end of November 2020, the Joint Evaluation Committee has approved Ringgit Malaysia 22 million, of which Ringgit Malaysia 9.8 million has been disbursed. Dr. Honourable Speaker, the Sarawak government has launched a special fund known as Agriculture Facilitation Fund in 2018 to invigorate and spur the agriculture development mainly in rural Sarawak. A total sum of Ringgit Malaysia 265 million has been allocated. Of these, to date, 239.62 million has been committed to implement various programs. 1. Agriculture product buyback program during movement control order. 2.5 million have been allocated to Pertubuhan Peladang Kawasan throughout Sarawak, Federal Agriculture Marketing Authority and Persatuan Nelayan Kawasan. Agriculture Outreach Program, Ringgit Malaysia 9,242 Agri-Corp, involving 21,811 participants has been organized. Number 3, distribution of Musang King seedling. Sum of Ringgit Malaysia 11.92 million has been spent, and we have distributed 250,735 seedling, benefiting 44,339 farmers. And modern farming, Ringgit Malaysia 4.2 million, benefiting 229 farm families. Swift ranching edible nest, Ringgit Malaysia 1.36 million, benefiting 68 farm families. Dr. Honourable Speaker, to reduce the impact of price fluctuation commodities that directly affect the farm income, Sarawak government has approved an allocation of 60 million to assist farmers with input such as fertilizer, pesticide. Under this program, each farmer will be entitled to Ringgit Malaysia 1,000. Rural Growth Center, Ringgit Malaysia, untuk rancangan Malaysia ke-11, a total sum of Ringgit Malaysia 106.8 million has been approved for development of RGC throughout the state. As of 31st October 2020, total sum of Ringgit Malaysia 65.5 million has been spent to carry out projects at Long Lama, Semok, Opar, Awawat and Bladin. A sum of Ringgit Malaysia 81.1 million has been proposed under this 12 Malaysia plan. Highland Development Agencies. Dr. Honourable Speaker, the rakyat within the Highland Development Agencies would like to express their appreciation to the GPS government for creating Highland Development Agencies. A sum of 1.5 billion have been allocated to carry out various infrastructure projects. The allocation undertake 3 major projects, namely construction of 30 road bridges benefiting 63 villages, communities in Bario Highland, Upper Tutuh, Long Lama, Tinjar and Upper Rajang, costing 1.264 billion. Construction of 20 water supply and treatment projects costing 210 million. Construction 2 power supply project cost 25.6 million. Integrated Regional Samarahan Development Agencies. The Integrated Regional Samarahan Agencies has been allocated a sum of 1.5 billion also to implement various development projects in Samarahan and Division. As of October 2020, 52 projects has been completed, while 237 projects are in pre-implementation stage, and the remaining 139 projects are still in planning stage. Food basket, Dr. Honourable Speaker, to support the development of food basket development area, the Department of Irrigation and Drainage Sarawak has identified around 77,000 hectares of land within Betong, Serike and Mukah Division. To date, a sum of 184 million has been approved for the construction of drainage to develop commercial scale production in the area. SACRA, Sarawak Land Conservation Rehabilitation Authority. We have received a number of constructive comments from scheme participants. SACRA are taking steps to address this issue. In order to increase productivity and operation efficiency, SACRA is currently working with Simtabi Plantation Berhad to develop SACRA Transformation Roadmap 2025. Among key initiatives are to increase yield per hectare to 20 metric ton, oil extraction rate of 23%, as well as align its business activities in order to be profitable. I am pleased to inform this August House the Land and Survey Department has agreed to authorize SACRA to carry out an expedient Section 18 titled survey. To this effect, SACRA has formed 7 new survey teams, and the team will increase as the need arises. As of October 2020, 655 land titles under Section 18 has been handed to landowners. A total of 68 lots was surveyed. A new policy has been set that for all newly developed area to be surveyed and issuance of land title within 3 years of development. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry will continue to aggressively pursue the transformation of state agriculture sector through adoption of modern technology, leveraging on digital economy, commercialization of agriculture, and strengthening agriculture sector, economic system, and regulatory requirement. Mr. Speaker, I wish to report on some of the chairman of agency under my portfolio. One is Unit for the Religion. In 2020, the state government has allocated 50 million to Unit 4 to assist religious house of worship and other religion in Sarawak. As of October 2020, Ringgit Malaysia 38.947 million has been disbursed and granted to 299 houses of worship. We are now in the process of disbursing the balance. Native Court of Sarawak. Mr. Speaker, the state government has appointed local consultant to undertake a comprehensive study on transformation of the Native Court of Sarawak. The final study report is expected to be completed by the end of this year. Majlis Adat Istiadat. Mr. Speaker, Majlis Adat Istiadat is the custodian of the Adat. In 2020, 25 seminars, workshops involving 1,917 participants and 6 outreach programs has been conducted. MIAS has also published 24 books on various topics on Adat, traditional knowledge, cultural expression, and folklore. Mr. Speaker, on rural transformation project, a total of 2,934.7 million was allocated for the period of 2015 to 2020. Implement 12,780 RTP projects in Sarawak. As of October 2020, out of 12,780 projects, 9,089, 71.1% projects have been completed. Remaining 28%, 3,691 projects are still in various stages of implementation. For the year 2020, out of 2,783 projects, 31 projects has been completed. In our effort to further enhance the delivery of RTP project, the State Cabinet implement a new method empowering Jawatankuasa Kemajuan dan Keselamatan Kampung to appoint contractors implement RTP through gotong royong concept. The involvement of JKK in project implementation is to instill sense of ownership among the local community and to ensure efficient delivery of project for the benefit of rakyat. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Local Government and Housing. Now I wish to deliberate on matter related to Ministry of Local Housing and Government, development project and program under local authority. Datuk Speaker bukan Datuk Amal. For the information available yang berhormat, this year the state government has approved allocation of Ringgit Malaysia 55.8 million for 25 local authority, including DBKU, to implement 356 infrastructure projects, such as provision of street lighting, traffic light, footpath, road, public toilet, drainage, town beautification, and rural facilities and amenities. Out of these, 179 projects are completed and the remaining projects are at various stage of implementation. The Ministry has also received Ringgit Malaysia 15.9 million from the Federal Ministry of Housing and Local Government for local authority in the state to implement 316 minor infrastructure projects this year. While for program Pembersihan Kemiskinan Bandar, the Ministry was allocated with Ringgit Malaysia 6.69 million, which have benefited 452 ketua isi rumah. Affordable housing. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, under the RMK 11 state-funded project Housing Development Corporation is tasked to implement 2,802 unit affordable housing in Rumah Spektra Permata. Out of these, 793 units are expected to be delivered by the year end. 178 units still ongoing and 1,531 units are at the various stage of implementation. There are 3 ongoing federal funded projects with a total of 1,112 units under the program Perumahan Rakyat. 2 projects with 651 units are scheduled to be completed by year end, while 1 project with 461 units is expected to be completed in 2023. The state government has allocated Ringgit Malaysia 11 million for the issuance of strata title which benefit to 12,000 owners. Long house loan. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, for the information of Ahli Yang Berhormat, the Ministry received allocation of 10 million this year from federal government for long house loan and 50 million from the state government. A total of 339 pintu have been approved under the federal contribution, while 1,604 door has been approved for the fund by the state government. Central Sewage System. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, the implementation of Miri Central Sewage System Phase 1 has started on 30th March 2017. It is clear it is scheduled to be completed by 30th August 2021. The decommissioning of existing septic tank in Central Business District is scheduled to commence in March next year. Meanwhile, the Kuching Centralized Sewage System Package 2, covering Kampung Gita, part of Jalan Matang, Jalan Tun Abdul Rahman Yaakob and Padungan, is scheduled to be completed by the 7th December 2023. Sarawak State Health Department Development. Datuk Speaker, I wish to update this August House on the retender of Putrajaya Hospital Project. Jabatan Kerja Raya Sarawak has submitted the tender education project to the Ministry of Finance on 21st October 2020. On the other hand, the site for Miri Hospital, new block project for 328 bed, has been handed over to contractor on 25th June 2020. This project is scheduled to be completed on 18 October 2023. As for the new Lawas Hospital, the project has started on 30th June 2020 and is scheduled to complete on 26 December 2023. Besides that, the actual progress of New Sariaman Hospital as of 23rd October 2020 is 86.22% compared to the schedule of 97%. The contractor has been granted additional 3 extension time when the completion date has been revised to the 6th February 2021. Fire and Rescue Station under Rangkaian Malaysia ke-11. The Fire and Rescue Station at Batu Niah, Miri, has officially started its operation 1st June, while the Fire and Rescue Station at Selangau, Sibu, start operation on 1st July 2020. The physical progress of the construction work for 2 new fire rescue stations at Sibu Jaya, Sibu and Balaga are progressing at 99% and 89% respectively. In addition, the construction for the replacement of existing Bintango Fire and Rescue Station is scheduled for completion by end of 2020. Rabies. The Thomas Speaker, rabies control and elimination program remain high priority by the state government, in which state and federal government has spent Ringgit Malaysia 20.31 million and Ringgit Malaysia 6.86 million respectively to implement various programs. Since 2017, a total of 190,349 dogs and cats have been vaccinated and about 40,000 stray dogs has been targeted removed. The government would like to appeal to the public to get treatment immediately if bitten by animal because rabies is curable if treated early. Datuk Speaker, now I'm speaking on a matter of Ministry of Education, Science and Technological Research, a redevelopment, upgrading and repair of the depleted school in Sarawak. Mr. Speaker, there are 1,020 depleted schools in Sarawak. Since 2016, those 274 schools have been repaired, 159 schools in various stages of repair and upgrading, making the total of 433 schools being addressed. This means that the remaining 587 schools are yet to be repaired. Since 2018, a total of ringgit Malaysia 1.85 billion were allocated for repair of upgrading depleted schools, of which state contribute 1.34 billion, while federal government allocated 517 billion. Centralized school. The Speaker, the Sarawak government has proposed merging low enrollment school into centralized school in order to address the issue faced by low enrollment. I am pleased to inform this August House that we are piloting one central school in Tebeduk, Siaran, known as SK Kujang Mawang. The school will be merged of two existing low enrollment schools in the area, SK Tesuk and SK Ntebuk. With the successful implementation of this school, we hope the other low enrollment school will follow suit. State-sponsored continuous professional development for school leaders and teachers. Datuk Speaker, CPD program for school teachers, school leaders, headmasters and senior assistant or penulong kanan started in 2017. So far, 2,853 out of 3,795 targeted school leavers have attended various training programs provided by the state at the cost of ringgit Malaysia 2.52 million. CPD program for teachers began in 2018 and Sarawak has spent a total of ringgit Malaysia 3.15 million to train 3,850 science, mathematics and English teachers. Technical vocational training. Datuk Speaker, I am pleased to inform this August House that both our state-owned TVET institution, PPKS and CITEC have played a significant role to producing skilled workforce of Sarawak. To date, PPKS has produced a total of 62,000 TVET graduates since its establishment in 1994. PPKS has also expanded from a single institution since its inception to 7 institutions offering different courses at different levels. Graduate employability rate within 6 months after completion of study hovers around 89%. Similarly, Sintec has grown from a single campus 2015 to 6 campuses in 2020 and produced 2,755 TVET graduates since its establishment. About 91% of graduates have secured employment within 6 months of completing and training. Research and development, Datuk Speaker, the state believes that R&D is very important to harness the potentials of its natural resources and creating wealth and driving the economy. Thus, the Sarawak government, through the Research and Development Council, has established a research grant scheme to assist local researchers, to encourage researchers and innovation in Sarawak. As of October 2020, a total of ringgit Malaysia 7.58 million worth of research grant has been disbursed. This grant are categorized as Catalyst Grant, 27 recipient, Research and Initiation Grant, 16 recipient, Special Venture Grant, 16 recipient, Commercial Fund, 1 recipient, Breaks-Back School Fund, 11 schools. Meanwhile, moving forward for 2021, the Council has allocated ringgit Malaysia 29 million for a specific grant called Grant Call that addresses the key focus of biomedical health, science and biodiversity. Datuk Speaker, now I'm touching on the Ministry of Welfare, Community Development, Community Well-being, Women, Family and Childhood Development. Datuk Speaker, I'd like to share the state government carrying effort in continuously improving our administrative and service delivery to societal well-being of Rakyat from cradle to grave. Early childhood development is a platform for our future generation to reach their fullest potential. Introduced in 2019, Endowment Fund Sarawak of 1,000 each for all Sarawakian newborn recorded the registration of 21,192 babies as at 31st October 2020. For the postnatal cash assistance of Bantuan Ibu Bersalin of ringgit Malaysia 450. A total of 9,405 mothers have benefited from the initiative introduced this year, involving allocation of ringgit Malaysia 4,232,250. Next is our grant tahunan khas, 5,000 nilai grant to all registered early childhood and care institutions in Sarawak. In addition, the Sarawak government has taken over Sedidik Sdn Bhd with its 94 Tarbika and Taska to ensure quality early childhood care and education services, especially in rural areas. To ensure its inclusivity in all social effort, we have just set up one-stop early intervention center, which provide diagnosis, rehabilitation, and intervention services for children with special needs, autism, Down syndrome, and learning disabilities as 7 and below. Petronas, under its CSR program, provide the initial 4 million fund to set up the center. Subsequent costs of maintaining the center will be borne by Sarawak government. For PWDs as 7 and work, sports opportunities and capacities development are available through talent identification and training scheme in sports. Presently, there were 165 athletes undergoing systematic development for participation at local, national, and international level. Sarawak has been the champion of Para Sukma Malaysia for 13 consecutive times since 1994. Keeping the well-being of women in mind, women's skill training is continuously carried out to improve the social and economic independence of Sarawak women. As at 31st October 2020, 17,321 women has been trained. Since 2018, Sarawak government has allocated a special grant of 5,000 in the form business equipment to 300 women. However, 2020, this grant was converted into revolving capital of ringgit Malaysia 2,000 to help 1,000 women entrepreneurs affected by COVID-19 pandemic crisis. Social issues as a direct impact on social well-being are given focus by our government. The number one top on the list is drug and substance abuse, close correlation between social issues. To address this, government set up one-stop committee at the state and district level. To date, 36 district level OSCS, their chair by district officer, has been set up in Sarawak. As of November 2020, our monthly welfare assistance for the needy recorded 52,779 recipients with a total expenditure of ringgit Malaysia 160,649,790, both state and federal fund. Majority of the assistance categorized are federal funded. We applaud the 2021 budget presenting made by the Minister of Finance Malaysia on the 6th of November under Matlamat Pertama Kesejahteraan Rakyat, in which the federal government has agreed to increase the monthly welfare assistance rate as follows. Bantuan OKU tidak berpayah bekerja raised from ringgit Malaysia 250 to 300 ringgit. Bantuan tua raised from ringgit Malaysia 350 to ringgit Malaysia 500. Bantuan penjagaan OKU sakit kronik telantar also raised from ringgit Malaysia 350 to ringgit Malaysia 500. Allowance pekerja cacat EPC raised ringgit Malaysia 400 to 450, and bantuan kanak-kanak raised from ringgit Malaysia 100 per child with a maximum of 450 per family to 150 per child as 7 to 18, or ringgit Malaysia 200 per child as 6 and below with a maximum of 1,000 per family. Our Chief Minister also tabled 2021 budget on the continuation of a state allocation of ringgit Malaysia 57 million for bantuan AM, 200 ringgit to ringgit Malaysia 300 per month, bantuan belia wanis ringgit Malaysia 200 sebulan, and top off to the federal allocation around 50 per case per family per month for both bantuan kanak-kanak and bantuan OKU tidak upaya bekerja. The Sarawak government also introduced Kenyalang Gold Card for the elderly aged 60 and above. As holder of KJC, the elderly can enjoy discount, rebate, or non-chargeable fee on services offered by the strategic partner and vendor. Presently, there are 162 registered vendors with Kuching having the most number 74, Cebu 19, Miri 19, Bengkulu 12, Semarahan 11, Limbang 10, Serian 5, Mukah 4, Serikit 3, Seriaman 3, Betong 2. We still need more private enterprise, especially in rural areas, to come as vendor and willing to give back to the society. Our elderly interested vendor can apply to the ministry. This KGC comes along with death compensation assistance of 3,000 that can be claimed by the heirs of KGC holder for funeral expenses. As at 31st October 2020, there are 190,115 KGC holder and 878 heirs have benefited from the death compensation assistance, amounting to Ringgit Malaysia 2,634,000. The second assistance include bantuan khas pesakit buah pinggang given to kidney failure patient for the medical treatment as hemodialysis and transportation assistance for patients in the rural areas. As of 31st October 2020, 61 kidney patients have benefited involving expenditure of Ringgit Malaysia 420,452. COVID-19 report. First of all, I'd like to thank all members of the ADUN for their yes. Nothing.
Thank you, Trans Speaker and Honourable Minister. I just want to ask about this Kengalang Go card. Now that we are thankful for all these additional benefits, but now that we have this Petronas payment SST, we're just wondering the queries from the ground, whether there can be made any monthly allowance to be given to pensioners on a monthly basis, just for everyone who actually possesses this Kengalang Go card. Would government consider that at all?
Thank you, Yang Muhammad. You should suggested that when the PH was in the government. We take note of your proposal. COVID-19 report. First of all,
the Minister said he takes note of your suggestion. He's answered your question.
COVID-19 report. First of all, I would like to thank members of ADUN for their call to mitigate the epidemic COVID-19. And we also like to record our appreciation for the support of each and every one of you in this August House, as well as your supporters in Sarawak, because with your cooperation, we has been able to flatten a certain phase of this COVID-19. The State Disaster Management Committee will take up all the constructive feedback given and bring up to the committee. In managing COVID-19, the SDMC has adopted policy of full containment, trace, test, quarantine, and isolate when there is a positive case. To ensure the success of policy of full containment, SDMC have implemented various strategies funded by Sarawak government. Those strategy: 1, providing sufficient medical equipment, consumable, and PPE. 2, preparation of adequate quarantine centers, prioritizing returning Sarawakian. Providing free quarantine and swab tests for returning Sarawakian. Supplying food and provide logistic support for frontliners. Distribution of food assistance to those in need, especially during the MCO and EMCO. Organizing and supporting the return of Sarawakian, namely 10,311 students, 670 teachers returning to Sarawak during the MCO, EMCO. Ensuring that all 12 Divisional Disaster Committee has sufficient operational fund. Setting up and enforcing the use of Enter Sarawak and e-health declaration form to track and regulate the movement of people entering and exiting the state. 9, mobilizing of manpower. And finally, conducting periodic and one-time daily conference call meeting with SDMC to allow for quick decision making across the state. Among the top 10 mentioned, there are many more strategies taken by SDMC. On the whole, since March, from March to October 2020, the state government has spent Ringgit Malaysia 96 million We must thank the state government for their generosity to support this committee. For as long as vaccine is yet to be found, the entire globe will have to live with COVID-19. Therefore, the state government, through SDMC, would like to echo the appeal by Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin during his 23rd ASEAN-China Summit yesterday to make the availability of successful developed COVID-19 vaccine to Malaysia as a top priority. The SDMC would like to thank China's contribution and support for ASEAN initiative for public health emergencies and record appreciation to President Xi Jinping for pledging to make vaccine a global public good. Yang Amat Berhormat Chief Minister Datuk Petinggi Abang Abdul Rahman Tuan Haji Upeng has pledged to allocate a sum of fund to ensure that all Sarawakian will have access to the vaccine once it is made available. Datuk Speaker, the COVID-19 pandemic is a big challenge for Sarawak. This is the crisis which will define our future. The choice we make now define who we are as people, what values and ideas will pass into the future. Confronting adversity, do we yield to anger, fear and bitterness, or will we be truly ourselves, stand firm, make tough choices and continue to trust and depend on one another? On the economic front, Sarawak will have to pursue economic transformation more vigorously. For our plan to succeed, for our hope and dream to come true, we will need the unity and the resilience of our people. Together, let all take Sarawak through this crisis with the Sarawak spirit. Agi hidup, agi ngelapan. Datuk Speaker, now I'm answering question, discussing issue under the Ministry of Finance. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate our Yang Amat Berhormat Ketua Menteri, Datuk Petinggi, Dr. Haji Abdul Rahman Johari, Bintun Datuk Abang Haji Upeng for tabling 2021 state budget with the theme reinvigorating the economy toward a resilient, caring and inclusive society. I would like also to express my sincere appreciation to all ahli yang berhormat who have actively participated in debate and give the constructive comment and suggestion on the Supply Bill 2020. State Budget 2020 at a glance. The 2021 State Budget is indeed a people-centric budget, focusing on steering economic recovery towards sustainable growth. It is an extraordinary budget where a large sum of allocation will be provided next year, amounting to Ringgit Malaysia 6.304 billion, or 62% for development expenditure, of which Ringgit Malaysia 4.251 billion, or 67%, is set aside for the implementation of program and project in the rural areas. These include road, bridges, water, electricity, supplies, digital connectivity, telecommunication, agriculture transformation and social amenities. Increase in public spending reflect the state government commitment toward meeting the socio-economic need of the rakyat, especially in rural areas, as well as providing conducive business environment. It is critical that the state government implement infrastructure development and basic amenity much needed by the state now in view of the following factor. A huge spending on development expenditure will act as stimulus to cushion the economic slowdown as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. B, the completion of this project will generate greater multiplier effect to the local economy, resulting in creation of more jobs, businesses opportunity. This effort will also help to uplift the standard of living of the riot and narrow the development gap between the urban and the rural areas. The implementation of the project now is more cost advantage, as the cost normally escalate in the long run due to inflation. Datuk Speaker, amidst the outbreak of COVID-19, the state has taken various immediate measures to combat the pandemic. Moving forward, the state has to undertake a bold step for the state economy to recover and strengthen our economic resilience. In a nutshell, the 2021 state budget multi-pronged strategies that focus on facilitating business ecosystem, enhancing social protection, advancing digital technology, transforming the agriculture production, upscaling and reskilling of human capital, as well as enhancing government services, will provide impetus towards state economic recovery and strengthen social inclusivity. Datuk Speaker, good governance and prudent financial management. The state has always been upholding and maintaining good governance practices to achieve and sustain its sound financial position. This is reaffirmed by the commendable investment grade credit rating given by both international and domestic rating houses. Modi and Standard & Poor have maintained the rating of A3 and A- respectively, while rating agency Malaysia has affirmed the state with credit rating of AAA. This sound financial management will give the state the fiscal flexibility in managing its financial affairs to ensure that its development momentum remain unhindered. State government procurement. I wish to inform this House that the state government will continue to enhance and strengthen accountability, transparency, and efficiency in all state procurement procedure. Among the initiatives being undertaken, 1. Review and improve the state procurement guideline or manual for implementation by state ministries, department, and statutory bodies. B. Increase limit of authority or divisional tender board from Ringgit Malaysia 500,000 to Ringgit Malaysia 2 million. C. Embark on study of state e-procurement to implement online procurement system. D. Establish a disciplinary action committee on non-performing contractor to avoid delay in project implementation. Datuk Speaker raised issues that were raised by Yang Berhormat. In response to raised by Yang Berhormat for Kota Sentosa on the state reserve in 2018-2019, I wish to reiterate that the state is committed to exercise prudent financial management to ensure financial sustainability in the long run. Earlier, Yang Berhormat for Kota Sentosa statement that the state has been deficit for the year 2018 was unfounded and misleading. Based on the audited state financial statement for 2018, the state had registered a surplus of Ringgit Malaysia 110.13 million. In respect to the 2019 budget, it was formulated as a surplus budget based on the assumption that the projected revenue would include state sales tax on petroleum product from Petronas. However, Petronas failed to pay the SST in 2019, even though they are legally obligated to do so. On the other hand, the state is committed to implement various strategic and impactful projects which are for the benefit of the rakyat. This is even more crucial as some of the approved federal projects, as promised earlier to the rakyat, has been cancelled by the previous Pakatan Harapan government. Thus, as an interim measure, we have to tap into our reserve to fund the implementation of all these projects. This has caused a reduction of state reserve from Ringgit Malaysia 27.09 billion in 2018 to 23.97 billion in 2019. Nevertheless, the reserve for 2020 is estimated to be Ringgit Malaysia 25.2 billion, which is about Ringgit Malaysia 1.3 billion higher than 2019. We are mindful of the need to strike the balance and the need to accelerate state development, while at the same time maintaining a healthy financial position. In addition to the state reserve of Ringgit Malaysia 23.97 billion in 2019, please take note on this one, the state has also investment, both listed in unlisted company, was Ringgit Malaysia 7.645 billion. These reserve figures are published annually in the annual official auditor report, which are available to the public. And therefore, there is no necessity for us to table this in the Dewan, because there will be a time when this auditor report will be tabled. On the issue that the state government is setting aside about Ringgit Malaysia 1 billion annually for repayment of its debt, I wish to reiterate that this provision is necessary to service the commitment in financing the state strategic development project in our effort to achieve high-income economy by 2020. These projects are being implemented to achieve the following objective: to accelerate development in rural areas in order to reduce development disparity, to narrow development gap between Sarawak and Peninsular Malaysia, and to ultimately uplift the standard of living of the rakyat. And Yang Berhormat from Kota Sentosa questioned why we took some loan. I wish to inform this Dewan, when PH was in the government, they also took loan in form of samurai bond, 200 million, 200 billion yen samurai bond. And they are paying 3.7 million for the broker of the samurai bond. While ours is processed creative financing through our DBOS, no broker cost. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, on the issue of keeping a substantial reserve in the bank and not spending enough money for development, especially during this current pandemic, this is a baseless accusation. Having a healthy financial position reflects the state's prudent financial management. Under the 11 Malaysia Plan, 2016-2020, the state is expected to spend Ringgit Malaysia 30 billion for development purposes. 30 billion. We've been spending substantially on development expenditure to improve the livelihood of rakyat, especially in rural areas. Besides that, the state is also committed to provide financial assistance, such as Bantuan Khas Sarawak Kusayang, amounting to Ringgit Malaysia 1.74 billion in 2020 to lessen the burden faced by rakyat caused by COVID pandemic 19. Datuk Speaker, the 2021 budget is expansionary budget. Expansionary budget is a fiscal policy used by the government to balance the contraction faced in the economic cycle, usually undertaken during recession. It involves increase in government spending, particularly on infrastructure development to spur economic growth, on welfare by providing more financial assistance to enhance social protection. And the expansionary budget also involve waiver of fee, premium and interest, as well as discount on water and electricity. On the other hand, a deficit budget is when estimated government expenditure exceeds the estimated revenue in a particular financial year. This type of budget is normally adopted to revive the economy and generate additional demand. The government also encourages excessive expenditure to improve the employment rate. The government covers this deficit by tapping into its reserve and through borrowing. However, in a country where revenue base is strong, the budget may not be necessarily a deficit budget despite substantial increase in expenditure. From this perspective, Sarawak government is in a position to have a surplus budget in 2021, as our revenue is sufficient to cover substantial development expenditure. Even though the state is having a surplus budget, the state is still able to fulfill its responsibility to the rakyat by allocating a large amount of funds for implementation of various initiatives in line with the state development agenda. Datuk Speaker, make sure I have a right face up there. Datuk Speaker, in response to the issue raised by Ali Yang Berhormat dari Bawang Asan on the need for the state government to spend more to assist the rakyat during the current pandemic, I wish to reiterate that the 2021 budget is providing large sum of allocation to implement various measures for well-being of rakyat during the pandemic. We will also continue to leverage on state alternative funding initiative to complement state development budget. This is necessary to fund infrastructure project, water, electricity, telecommunication and digital project. In respect of the allocation to mitigate COVID-19 pandemic, I'd like to bring to the attention of Ali Yang Berhormat dari Bawang Asan. Our federal government has allocated the sum of Ringgit Malaysia 305 billion for both Perihatin and Fajana packages in comparison to Singapore COVID stimulus package of Singapore 193 billion. Therefore, it is a fallacy and inappropriate to compare our state allocation with that of Singapore. On the other hand, our allocation of ringgit Malaysia 1.74 billion is over and above the allocation provided by the state government. Jangan cuma tengok state government punya contribution. We are in Malaysia. As for the state, the allocation provided by them to mitigate COVID is very much less compared to Sarawak. Penang, 151 million. Selangor, 272 million. Sabah, 210 million. Johor, 174.5 million. The state is allocating a sum of ringgit Malaysia 350 million to assist SMEs, micro businesses during COVID-19 pandemic. This is on top of the ringgit Malaysia 20.43 billion allocation provided by the federal government under Pejana dan Perhatin. Datuk Speaker, this 2020 budget is a clear reflection of what the GPS have the vision, have the program, have the compassion for the right, and have the fund to implement this program. Bukan macam some of the opposition pergi Kulu, pergi Kelir, buat macam-macam janji. Tapi dia sendiri pun tahu bagaimana dia nak tunai janji. But to them is normal. Lying to the people seems to be their daily profession. Janji dibuat, lepas tu lupa. Lepas tu balik dengan jumpa rakyat, buat janji lagi. Bagi tahu gaji ini naik, gaji itu naik. Rakyat should know they have no local standard at all to mention such thing. They can only make promises. Therefore, GPS is also led by a very capable and experienced leader, Datuk Petinggi Abang Jo. In the last 3 years, we have seen how he have brought development to Sarawak and how he has led Sarawak through the COVID pandemic crisis. Therefore, inilah pemimpin yang pandai cari duit, yang telah berjaya membela hak Sarawak and continue to fight for Sarawak. Therefore, I call upon Sarawakian to give full support to GPS government. What we have seen in the last 3 years and what we see today, only GPS can jaga Sarawak, can take care of Sarawak. Oleh GPS understand masalah Sarawak. So, only GPS will be able to bring Sarawak to prosperity, to unity, to peace, and to be developed state by 2030. COVID-19 melanda negeri, mana kawan temu dengan pantun. Bersatu hati tempuh bersama. Sarawak ku sayang, bantuan diberi. Kebajikan rakyat tetap kita pelihara. Abang Jo bijak, bajet berbilion. Projek rakyat kita laksanakan. Jangan risau memilih adun. Bersama GPS, rakyat sejahtera. With that, Datuk Speaker, I wish to express my sincere gratitude and thanks to Datuk Amar Speaker and Datuk Speaker and to all your staff for tactful handling the proceeding of the sitting of this House, proper decorum, dignity in this House. I wish also to extend my appreciation and thanks to the Honourable State Secretary, officers from various state and federal agencies and agencies for their commitment, dedication in providing the necessary input and support for the smooth proceeding of this August House. Finally, I'd like to extend my greeting to all our Hindu friends Happy Diwali. To my Christian friend, Merry Christmas for everyone. Happy New Year 2021. And Gongxi Fachai to our Chinese friend. May we continue to have good health, peace, harmony among all communities in Sarawak under GPS. Kita jaga Sarawak into Sarawak. Thank you.
Ahli-ahli yang berhormat, the sitting is adjourned to 3 p.m. this afternoon.
I'm prepared with all this.
I think it's a reminder that they